We are here. We are here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle. It's your boy, the coach. We're the Phil Meets family, and we're here for another weekly installment, the last installment before the season starts of Cover 2. I'm flanked by my illustrious colleague, my brother in arms, Jesse Nailers. What's up, Jesse? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Full government name. That's, I feel pretty special about that for sure.
Uh-huh.
Cover 2 is always a great time. And you're right. It's the last one before the season starts. I got to tell you, coach, I'm noticing that between the audiences, you're like the favorite. A lot of people don't like, when you and I get into these little disagreements. They think like, oh man, Jesse's like an arrogant piece of crap. It's pretty funny to read the comments. So what I love about it most though, coach.
Mhm.
This is what you and I do on the phone all the time. Like
All the
the
time.
way that we react here is exactly what it sounds like on the phone when we have disagreements. It's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I love the I love the back and forth. I mean, and we created our own little cove inside of the Niner faithful. So I love it, man. It's hard because right now, dude, I even looked on YouTube, man. Like there are more content creators that are opening up in the space. Guys are getting and ladies are getting more and more galvanized to get into this thing, which we love.
Yeah,
So, but it makes it all the more special when we can be able to create something and get the feedback that we do. So I'm here for it, bro.
I am
And
too.
let's get into the topics, man. So we got a couple of them. You already know how our flow goes. We get specific, we try to get a couple of topics out, but if we start going back and forth and the conversation takes over, it is what it is. All right. But let's
You mean
start.
you and I are gonna have a disagreement at some point? Shocker.
All right. So look, let's not bury the lead. I mean, right now, before we walk into our week one against the Seattle Seahawks, there's a bit of news that actually would trump that, which is Jawan Jennings, 49ers wide receiver, has returned back to practice. And we already know all of the stories and the narratives put out there. Jawan has presumably asked for requested a trade that we found out later into the season. I mean, later into the off season. We also have seen that there's been overtures of an alleged 20 plus $1 million in that ballpark range of what Jawan was looking to fetch for his his contract negotiations. And we already know the narrative and the backstory, which is Jawan Jennings is third in Jawan. We picked up Jawan in the 7th round. He's been a force contributor for us, created a niche for himself, put one of the toughest guys, one of the most likable guys. I don't think there's you're hard pressed to find a fan that does not like Jawan Jennings, right? Or doesn't appreciate what he does for the team. He's pretty much one of those golden guys. However, he's always been third option at best on our offense throughout the years. And last year, due to injury and us coming off of a hard torn year, losing in the Super Bowl, he got elevated to being wide receiver one, with Brandon Ayuk going down, George Kittle presumably staying in to help our woefully battled offensive line. And I think that the contributions that Jawan put forth uh, kind of put him in a position where he felt as though that he needed a raise. Uh, that all seems to be, but in the wind right now because I mean, as far as leverage is concerned, you pretty much gave up all of it by showing up to practice and participating. I have my theories on why that is, but I'm just going to go ahead and let you go ahead and take it. I built it enough.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so first of all, we did hear rumors that Jawan Jennings had asked for a trade pretty early into training camp,
Mhm.
but it was swept under the rug. And then obviously, just like everything else, people were like, "Oh, so you didn't request a trade." And then we found out later that he did in fact request a trade, and John Lynch was unwilling to trade him basically, which is totally understandable. Now, I thought that if he got a deal, it would be around the 15 to 17 million dollar range for, 2 years, 15 to 17 AAV.
Mhm.
That clearly is not the case. We heard that it was 20 plus from Tim Kawakami, which I mean, I get it. Your agent's Drew Rosenhaus, but you guys are Delulu if that's what you
Nah,
think that
bruh.
you're worth. It's absolutely not. There's no way that the 49ers should even consider signing him for that. And truth be told, I mean, Jawan Jennings did this holdout thing last year. He had a tender offer on the table. He could have taken that tender offer, bet on himself fully, and then been an unrestricted free agent. He didn't do that. He fought tooth and nail then, got a 2-year deal. And so here you are. This is what happens when you play really well. You didn't bet on yourself fully, and now you're in a situation where you do have to bet on yourself. Now, I do also think that the injury was very, very real. I heard that it was very real. I heard that it
Okay.
wasn't only calf tightness, but there was some Achilles stuff going on. I think that the therapy and everything probably could have wrapped up around a week ago, but
Mhm.
he was holding out a little bit longer until the season started just to see if he could get that deal done. So that's the way that I read the situation. Yes, the timing seems wonky, but truly he did have a real injury. That I know for a fact. We can debate like how serious it was, how serious it wasn't. I still, for whatever it's worth, I don't believe that Jawan Jennings is the type of player, the caliber of player that can truly hold out for a new contract and expect to get one. That is reserved for the elite of the elite in the league. Jawan
Agreed.
Jennings does not fit that description.
Mhm.
And yes, I understand him and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, are asking for 20 million plus, which is crazy. I don't think they're crazy enough to just hold out without an injury. That is not the caliber player he is. Drew Rosenhaus knows that. He's been around for a long time. He's the best in the business. So, you know, timing is curious for sure. What I will say is, though, for the 49ers side of the house,
Mhm.
this is the best thing that could happen because they do have a game coming up week 1. The question is how right is he really? Is he truly going to be back, or is it going to be a slow start, much like Ayuk and many others that had to hold out / be injured in training camp? We're going to find out exactly. But if the 49ers have any chance to start off hot this year, they're going to need Jawan Jennings with all the other receiver lack of depth that they have based on injury and suspensions and what have you. So this is huge for the 49ers.
Yeah, I look at this as something more of, I mean, I hate to do this but get boring, but if you really want to take this to the offensive line, like I look at this as the effect that Dominic Pooney had on our offensive line last year.
Mhm.
There is a lot that Jawan Jennings can do that can raise the floor for the entire unit, right? And that's the type of piece that he is. He's built for the entire unit. He has a use case, for lack of a
Mhm.
better term. And the thing about it is that what you have to do if you're in his position is understand that the rest of the league is watching, right? And you've got to be honest and understand that not only is the rest of the league watching, but players who quite honestly can replicate your skill set are watching as well. And they understand that, maybe you're kind of biting the hand that feeds you. Case in point, there's been some rumblings, all right, about the Niners horse trading and getting in some receivers, right? We just acquired Sky Moore. There was another receiver that we all know very well that was go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Oh
yeah, I
yeah,
got you.
that we all know very well that was potentially coming through for the Niners, and he actually came in for a workout, and that is Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne coming in for his visit today was poetic justice on so many levels, right? Number one, it speaks to the fact that Kendrick Bourne crawled so Jawan Jennings could walk. Okay. He was the first avatar. Okay. Well, really, if you really want to keep it 1,000, Trent Taylor was the first avatar, but really, Kendrick Bourne was the first avatar of that scrappy third receiver that sticks inside the zone. He's quicker than he is fast. He's going to give you yak. He's going to break tackles. He's going to be rough inside the hashes, be pesky, also be a force contributor in the pass game. I mean, in the run game. All right. And what he doesn't have as far as top end speed and all of the measurables that you will want out of receiver, he follows all of that with what? Effort, energy, right? Who the type of player that he is, being a team guy. And for me, it's poetic justice that you would have a guy come in to say, all right, well, look, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Like if you don't want the spot, bruh, I can come in here and do it at for pennies on the dime of what you're asking for. Look, I'm not here to be messy, but it does kind of, there's nothing that moves negotiations and conversations along like a little bit of competition, right? And for me, I feel like in certain ways, Kendrick Bourne opened doors that Jawan Jennings walked through. And for that matter, I believe that the posture of the organization, juxtaposed to what happened with them last year, Brandon Ayuk getting his money, Trent Williams getting his money, CMC getting his money. I think that he kind of met the wrong conversation. He met the wrong people in this, as far as like the conversations that he wanted to have to move forward to get his money. And I think that Kendrick Bourne being here was a manifestation of how the organization felt. Like, all right, bro, we're moving on, right? Either you get out here or we're exploring our options. Now, like you said, I want him to be healthy, right? If he's not healthy, then there's no reason of pushing him out there, right? So that's TBD to see what he can do. 1 week of practice is nothing compared to months of camp and being prepared. So I don't know what type of Jawan Jennings we're going to get. Obviously, I would say, the smart bet is to anticipate a little bit of a dip, right, in production because he's got to work his way through. But for the most part of it, I think that this is just a conversation that was ill-timed. And I think that he forced the organization's hand to really let him know an appraisal of what they think of him. Like, all right, we'll let you know. We'll go get Kendrick Bourne. So that's how I feel, man.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think that the organization had to do what they had to do, but it's so funny to me. I like Kendrick Bourne. I think he's a vibe. He's a good person to be around in the locker room. I would have been fine with him coming back.
Mhm.
But gosh, this fan base gets excited over the most mid players. Like Kendrick Bourne is he's mid at best. Like he's not a guy who's a needle mover whatsoever.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
so many fans were so excited to have Kendrick Bourne back. It's like, all right, man, he's cool, I guess, but you can't do better than that. There wasn't better options out there all off season that you could have went and got. So I'm glad that Jawan's back because he's definitely a lot better than Kendrick Bourne is. There's certainly a difference there, but you did touch on something, and I touched on it earlier as well, and that's the biggest thing. It's one thing to be on the field, which Jawan Jennings seems to be trending towards, and it's another to be back. And we saw
Mm.
that so clearly with Brandon Ayuk. How long does it take for him to get back? Or is it one of those things where a calf injury lingers all year and he's got to deal with it? He's in and out of the lineup, or, he's lost a little bit of speed. Luckily for Jawan Jennings, he doesn't win on athleticism. He does win on his size. He does win on his tenacity. So, even if he's lost, quote unquote, a step because of this, he's still going to be able to do what he does, which is contested catches, be big in the moment, and he's going to be able to play that way. I do also like this because now he can kick to the outside, and that frees up Ricky Pearsall to do what he does best, which is get him in motion, get him free releases, two-way goes. And I think that Ricky Pearsall, more than anybody, benefits from JJ being back. So
That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask who is immediately benefiting from
mhm,
Jawan Jennings being back. For me, I think it's the offensive line. We have somebody else that can hold down the edge. Let's just be honest. The
yeah,
biggest thing for me looking at our receiving core was we didn't necessarily have any beef. Nobody there that was actually going to be what we've already done is blocking, right? Our mantra for years has been no block, no rock, right? Like if you don't block, you don't get the ball. And right now it seems as though that we were kind of leaning towards more of a West Coast style, purely West Coast, a lot of stop and go, a lot of intermediate routes, timing routes, letting the ball go, protecting the offensive line, getting the ball out quick. That only works, but for so much. But when you get down in that green in that red zone, where those quick passes, the real estate gets real short. Those quick passes turn into picks if you don't have the arm strength that what we deal with Brock Purdy. So sooner or later, you're gonna have to show some type of element to the offense where you can keep the defense honest. And also beating up on corners. That's big. Being able to make safeties come down and be contributors in the run game, making corners and nickels and dimes be contributors in the run game. That's the type of stuff that I'm telling you. I know it looks good for the optics to see JJ beating up on guys, pushing them out of bounds, and all of that. But those are body blows. All right. If you want to liken this to a fight, this is the stuff that weakens the legs of your opponent. So I'm glad that he's back. I think that the offensive line is really going to serve well for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, I think the team overall the run game benefits, not
Hmm.
just the offensive line, but the run game in particular, to your point. He is a great blocker and
Hmm.
he does get in the heads of a lot of opponents. And I look at Seattle specifically. I know we're going to talk about matchups, but when I look at Reek Woolen, as good as he is, and he's a very good player, he's kind of a mental midget at times. He does get taken out of games. I mean, there was a game last year he got benched. He's a very good corner, too good to be benched, and they had to bench him because he just wasn't in it that game mentally.
Hmm.
So Jawan Jennings is the perfect player to take him out of it, kind of just beat him up a little bit and completely take him mentally out of the game, and then they can go cook him. So that's the way that I see it. I think Jawan Jennings is perfect, at least for that. He is on offense what Dre Greenlaw was on defense. He is the Draymond Green of this team. He just is.
Yeah. Hey, so look, I love it. Let's get into finally, and you know what? I feel like this is a switch, like a real switch right now. This is the first time that we get to talk. We get to utilize this show for exactly what we wanted to do, which is to talk about the season. We
Yeah.
finally get to start talking about the season. So let's get into it, bro. I'm excited about this. We got the Seattle Seahawks week 1. All right. Dude, let's talk about the 49ers offensive line versus the Seahawks front. Can San Francisco protection hold up against Seattle stunts and pressure looks? I want to get into unit for unit matchups, how we feel. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. How do you feel?
I I fear for the center of that offensive line. Like the middle of that offensive line versus this defense is going to be tough. Seattle has put so many assets into both lines. We'll talk about their offensive line later. But when you run out a starting unit, they essentially run a 3-4. So they've got 5 guys that can rush you at all times. They start with Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, Demarcus Lawrence, and Boye Mafe. Off the bench, 2 pure pass rushers and Derek Hall and Uchenna Nwosu. They're going to come at you in waves. They just are. And I think that is going to be an interesting matchup for the 49ers. We're going to know really early if they've got a left guard that's worth his salt and if they've got a center that's worth his salt, because this team is going to give them looks. It's going to give them pressures and just give them straight talent that is going to be up there with the best in the league. Now they have another great test in division in the Rams and also the Cardinals. And that's what's interesting to me is all 3 of these teams have really kind of built their defensive lines. The 49ers offensive line might be exposed more than ever. All of the things that we've been frustrated with might come to fruition this year 6 times within the division. Or maybe they are improved. Maybe they do have a left guard that's worth his salt. Maybe we do have Jake Brendel who's getting a little bit better. I don't know. We're going to find out. But ultimately, they're going to be tested very, very early. And one thing that and I know is usually defenses early in the season,
They start
much like
fast.
early in training camp, they are ahead of the offenses. It's just the way
Yeah.
that it works. So I expect this to be a dogfight for the 49ers offensive line. And the biggest thing is they have to be able to run the ball. Like that's really what it comes down to. Can they run the ball? We're going to find out very, very early if they can do so.
My biggest thing right now is getting into what they will do, not what they should do, right?
Yeah.
Last year I did a lot of pontificating about how to run the ball, the best way to run the ball. And really, as I assessed going over everything that we did offensively, it's best to just go about this with what they will do. We know that they're going to go side to side. They're not going to go north and south. Even with Brian Robinson Jr., they may get into some short downs with him, but outside of running inside and outside zone, which you know that they're very persnickety about, they're precious with it. They're really going to try to get sideline to sideline. There's a crack in the defense as far as I'm concerned. with the front. Tyrese Knight, okay, and Ernest Jones, that's where you have your biggest success. All right. I think that these guys are marks. I'm not too excited about I'm very excited about the 49ers going against their linebacking crew. And then another thing about these guys, as far as Boye Mafe and Dexter Lawrence are concerned, is that yeah, these guys are force contributors to go get the pass. I want to see these guys or how they're going to do trying to stop the run. Now, like you said before, Byron Murphy II versus Jake Brindle is going to be an event. Okay, let's just call it what it is. However, I really want to see how the Niners are going to be running off of tackle. I think that this year, especially with Seattle, that they're going to try to get off tackle, especially trying to use a little bit of power with Brian Robinson Jr. Now that they have B-Rob, the biggest thing that I want to see is that what is the offensive line going to do as far as dexterity in the run, right? Are they just going to run inside and outside zone? Are we going to see gap scheme? Are we going to see a little bit of duo? Part of running the ball is actually showing the diversity of what you can do across the plate so you can actually get everybody involved in the defense and trying to stop the run. But when you just run from sideline to sideline, you really do let people off the hook. All the guys are doing is just fast flowing and trying to get to the sideline. It's a track meet. So the biggest thing for me is the ingenuity and how we use what we have. Are we gonna see Ben Barch start at left guard? Do you think Ben Barch is slotted to start? Is he going to be there?
Yeah, I think he is going to be there. And like I said, we're going to find out real quick because Leonard Williams is no joke. And that's who he's going to be dealing with. So
yeah,
curious to see that matchup.
I will tell you this. Jaron Reed is somebody that I'm excited to see go against Dominic Pooney because I think Dominic Pooney does really good with bigger tackles. He does because I feel like Dominic's a little bit slung short. He's got shorter arms. He's got a really quick punch. He can do a lot in a short area. But when he gets guys that are really sawed off and kind of his size, it's a problem. He really can't traverse around those guys, especially quicker guys. And what I'm really speaking of is Jaron Reed. Jaron Reed, 6'3", 307, coming in, veteran guy, came in, been drafted. He's been here almost a 10-year vet, got drafted in 2016. He's going to be somebody that I'm going to be interested in seeing the success that he has against Dominic Pooney. Moving forward, I will tell you that as a unit, it's going to be crazy to see this bunch together because outside of Knight and Jones, Tyrese Knight and Jones, the other linebacker, this defense is kind of nice, bro. This defense is like from top to bottom, bro.
And listen, we can talk about strengths and weaknesses, but Tyrese Knight, I mean, was a pretty sought after prospect. And Ernest Jones, man, he's pretty good. His strength may not be run defense, but man, he flies to the ball. Like his nose is always around the football. Like this is not a bad football player either.
Right. Look, so it's going to be interesting to see. I, for one, want to see the consistency. Who's going to blink? You know, that's kind of how it starts, especially in week 1, series 1, series 2, series 3. It's almost like a prize fight. Everybody's just feeling each other out. Who's going to blink? Who's going to take the cheese, make the biggest mistake? Who's going to capitalize off of that? That's really how week 1 games are won and lost. But I'll be interested to see how that plays out. So let's get into some supers while we got a chance to right now. Look at this guy. This is Brother Bob. Brother Bob, we've talked about this. Y'all filed
but
for
he changed
a show.
His name. He changed his name at least. At least
Yeah,
he
did
changed
change
his
his
name. You
name.
requested it.
I did request him to change his name. There's just some grammar issues. So look, y'all filed for a show on Fantasy Football Draft Day. Why does he text the way he talks? Clean it up. Brother Bob, Jesse equals a true brother beneath his Blanco blanket. Yo, you're crazy. Brother Bob, JJ's a sucker for not standing on business. Come on, cuz why? How? Standing on what?
He's not the caliber of player to hold out, man. He just isn't.
He's not. There was nothing to stand on. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Doing what, like Juwan Jennings taking this to the mattresses, right? For him really taking this to the mat, that hurts him not just for this year. but it really hurts his cachet around the league. It does, bro. Because it's not the fact that you're going to get your money, it's you're being unrealistic. You're not being realistic. This is the right move, right? You gotta NFL stands for not for long, bro. Come on, man. Get up out of here. Fuck around and get your door, dog. Better chill out. Better chill. So look, Sam Rizar, member for 20 months. Yes.
Samir, yeah. Appreciate you, bro.
What's up, Samir, man? Yes, finally got y'all live. My number one Niner show. That's what's up, Samir. Sorry for butchering your name. Dangerous Dave, 23. Jesse is smartest guy ever living in Florida. Jesse is the smartest guy ever.
He just moved here, so he's like, dude, you're on to something. Tampa's legit. I was like, I'm telling you, man.
It's legit. He likes it.
He loves it. And I was like, you're here during the worst time of the year. If you love it now, wait till the rest of the year happens.
But I'm stayed put. We just copped the crib, so we're chilling for a while. But hey, the next move, we're down for whatever, dog.
Yeah.
So you gotta sell Florida to baby girl for me. You gotta sell it.
That's easy.
All right. Samir, Dave is the smartest guy ever in the YouTube comments.
YouTube comments, nice.
Like that. Ace 86, my guy, Mr. Naylor. When are you going to do a call-in show? We need to get acquainted before I join you at SoFi for that Thursday night game.
Yeah, you're right. I do got to do one. It's funny because I was just thinking of that the other day. I'm like, all right, when can I fit this in? But I'm glad that you're coming to SoFi and you're going to be at the Roundtable Sports thing. We'll definitely meet there for sure. But I'll have a call-in show well before then. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I need to get a call-in show. Call-in shows, guys, are back when the season starts. I got a lot going on, guys, but call-in shows, I haven't done a call-in show in a while. We need to get that back going as well. Ace 86, thank you, Coach. When are you coming to Levi's? Don't let Grant talk you into sticking around Oakland. Get down to the Monterey Bay and check out the incredible scenery. I have to, bro. I'm coming. Yo, Asa is one of the nicest guys ever, bro.
Yeah,
he really is. Either he's one of the nicest guys ever, or he's a serial killer. It's either or. Yeah. It's got to be either or.
No in between. I'm gonna go with serial killer. That sounds more fun.
There we go.
So I'll see it's SoFi, but I might not make it back. It sounds like. I will say this for me. Going to Levi for a couple of games. I was there for the NFC Championship game. I was there when they played Tampa, and then I think I was there for one other game. I can't remember. Either way, not SoFi. I said SoFi. I meant Levi. Mm-hmm. Levi it's just not a good stadium. I'm sorry. I would much rather travel and watch the team on the road. It is so much better. Levi is just not. I don't know. It's not for me.
Go ahead, Jess.
It's just not for me. I don't think it's very good at all. I think it's positioned wrong. The fact that they have to wear white uniforms and do all this and request road games because of the sun early in the season. It's ridiculous.
It's so weird. Ridiculous. It is so weird. And really what frustrates me about like the whole thing, I actually tweeted about it. And I basically said that, well, what did I say? I said Levi's feels like watching football at a tech convention, surrounded by parking lots and office parks, no bars, no culture, no soul, just tailgates and corporate handshakes. That's exactly how it feels out there, bro. It's like a wax museum. Honestly, there's no soul, there's no culture. It feels like a satellite. Honestly, to be honest with you, it's almost like what Hollywood would think of if they had to like put out like a football set, like a studio of a stadium, and like what they think a football team is supposed to look like, what the grass is. That's what it looks like. It's very like,
I agree.
Yeah, it's fake. I don't like it at all. But anyway,
I mean, yeah, obviously you were there with me for training camp last year, and you're right. I mean, it's literally a business district. You're like, oh, there's a stadium there. That's cool.
Pretty much it.
Yeah.
So I mean, once you get out, it's like there's construction everywhere. It's just kind of weird. There's like nobody walking around. It's a desert town. So
I am gonna go to the Bears game. I plan on going to the Bears game. My friend is he's family friends with the Badgins, the backup quarterback, Tyler Bagent or Badgent or whatever, the backup quarterback for the Bears. So we're gonna have field passes and everything. I'm like, well, I can't turn that down.
Learn his name. Learn his name. You're getting field passes. At least get his name right.
Whatever. Hey, it doesn't matter. I already said I'm not wearing Bears gear, so there's that. I'm not doing it. So
all right, okay. He getting box seats, coming in hard with what he will and won't do. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Butchering the kid's name as well. So let's just go.
Hilarious.
Let's move into our next topic. 49ers weapons in Hawks secondary. Pearsall and Kittle test Will Witherspoon and Love in coverage. Let's talk about the weapons that we've surpassed, especially with Jawan Jennings being back in the fold, presumably ready for week 1. We don't know. But let's just hope that that's true. And then as well, we got to name all the weapons. Christian McCaffrey is a part of this air assault as well. So what can you expect from the Seahawks secondary versus our weapons?
Well, I mean, you've got Tyrese Knight, who is a very, very young player. I
Mm-hmm.
want to test that. And I think really where this is going to be won, obviously between the hashes, but Christian McCaffrey does so much in the pass game. We can talk about him as a running back and all of that. I think the biggest impact that he has is clearly in the pass game. We talked about it all last year. We had a joking like debate on it. But ultimately that's where he impacts the game the most. And we clearly saw it in Brock Purdy's game. He was much more comfortable, even though guys were open last year
Mm-hmm.
for checkdowns underneath. A lot of times he just wouldn't pull the trigger. He would pump fake, pump fake, pump fake, run around, take a sack, throw downfield into
It's
coverage.
true.
He just wasn't comfortable without CMC on the field. CMC is that comfort blanket for him. And I truly think that this is going to be an attempt. We'll see what actually happens. We don't know about injuries, what have you, what happens throughout the course of the game. But this year, I truly believe they're going to make an attempt to give George Kittle the best statistical season that he's had in his whole career. I
That's why you
believe
my
that.
dog, Jess. That's why you my
So
dog.
I think those two are going to be a nightmare for any linebacker tandem. And one thing that we do know about Kyle, and this happened literally immediately as soon as he took over the team. We joke about it now because Kyle Juszczyk's, is 33, 34 years old. He's not the same player, but he was like the first big free agent. Then they also drafted George Kittle, and we saw how that turned out. Kyle Shanahan wants to exploit linebackers. He knows that linebacker play in the NFL
It's
is
horrible.
very, very thin.
Yep.
It's not at a high level. And if you can have one really good
It's
one, but you
rare.
certainly don't ever have
Yeah.
two, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, that means he's looking to exploit those guys. And he does it in a multitude of different ways. He throws a lot at them, makes them really, really work. And you talked about going horizontal versus vertical in the run game. They go horizontal in the pass game. That's when they're at their best. And that's when you get the use checks in the flat and the CMCs and the Kittles and bubble screens and all, jet sweeps and all of those things. That's when the 49ers offense is at its best. I fully expect a quick pass game to mitigate that pass rush as much as possible, frustrate those pass rushers, and then that's when you start to mix in the play action. You can take those shots down the deep middle of the field. I think this is where, if they're going to win this game, these are the matchups that they have to exploit. This right here, in my opinion, is the 49ers' best matchup is running backs, fullbacks, tight ends versus their linebackers and safeties. That's going to be their key to victory.
Hey, man. I agree 100%. The biggest thing for me is the soft white underbelly, dog. The same reason why I believe that the run game can find success is the same reason why I believe the pass game can. You have to go in between the hashes. You have to attack those linebackers. Like you said, man, the linebacking position it's thin. It's hard to get good guys at an elite level in tandem playing together. And to be honest with you, when you have linebackers that are worth their salt and weight, they're pretty much the tip of the spear of your defense. And a lot of people can't spend that type of money on linebackers, especially when you got to get a number one corner. You at least got to get a pass rusher. You got to get somebody that stops the run. By the time you get the linebacker, you're really looking for football players, right? And that's what I think that the Seattle Seahawks have. They're going to be coached up because I think that Coach McDonald, that's kind of his forte, making sure that he gets guys ready in that front seven, specifically linebackers. But I think that George Kittle, it was a crime. And it's been a crime. Not was, it's been. Every time we get through a season and the offense starts to sputter, we finally remember that we have the best tight end in the NFL. He always is an afterthought, primarily because he does so much damn work helping out the offensive line. I mean, George Kittle has been our glorified sixth offensive lineman for about 8 years. Okay.
Mhm.
So for me, I do believe that having Farrell in, right? I do believe having him in was getting some double tight looks, getting George out early, being able to ride that, right? Also getting linebackers nervous where play action becomes a big part of what they're doing. I really believe that going after these linebackers, going after the middle of this defense is the best because their edges are trump tight, to be honest with you. If you go after their edges, I do believe that you're really going into the teeth of what they do. This is a
Mhm.
young bunch. They don't want to think. They just want to go. They want to fly around. I got that impression by watching them this preseason. All right, this is a galvanized bunch. They all want a piece of the ball, and they all want to be first on tap. So for me, us being able to kind of, how can I put it, walk the dog in a sense, right? Be where they're not, right? Be a step not ahead, but a step off. Being able to be savvy with George sitting down in zones where it's like, yeah, you can't coach that up. Either you know how to feel that or you don't. I believe that that's going to be able to help us. George is going to be somebody that we heavily should lean on in the beginning of the season, primarily this game and on the road. Hello? Did Jess freeze on me, bro? Dog, Jess froze on me. All right, so look, either he froze on me or he's not breathing. All right, we're gonna get to some super chats while we're waiting on Jesse to pull it together. But Jess, you good, baby? I'm gonna get him down. I'm not gonna do you like that. Usually, when I mess up, you know one thing that they do. You know what? Now I got some time to talk about this. Usually, when I mess up in my control or like my connection goes down, what happens is that they leave my picture up, and they leave whatever face that I have. They just leave it up and leave me up there to look stupid until I come back into the studio. I just want you to know that I didn't do Jesse like that. All right. Let's just move on to some super chats before he gets back in here. So look, here we go. BNA EST 1988. I play guitar for the Go-Go Band, Reaction Band. Last night, while on stage, the TV was in the club and was playing the replay from our last Super Bowl. Real Pan. Dog, you play for the Reaction Band? You know my sister sung for UCB. Come on, bruh. We got to rap, man. We got to rap. I ain't know that you play for Reaction. Come on, man. I ain't know you did that. Maddie Bruce, Santa Claus equals SimCity 2000. SimCity 2000, Windows 98 come to life. Yes, it really is. It's if you're from the DMV area, it's like Crystal City, like Fairfax. It's very sterile. It's like a business park, right? So it's very weird. But yo, let's get into the next topic. Let me see what we got here. Seattle Seahawks offensive line versus the 49ers pass rush. Young Seattle line faces Bosa Williams at a young relentless San Francisco front. So the biggest thing for me is looking at the offensive line that's been worked on. I'm gonna tell you right now, Gray Zabel, the guard that they picked up out of North Dakota State, 6'6", 305. Looking at him in the preseason, he is going to be an issue. He's somebody that they definitely are going to be on top of, being able to run the ball with them. Also, looking at their offensive line, understanding that their run attack with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III, that's going to be a problem moving into being able to see if we can stop them on defense. Jess, you all right, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, man. So we were just getting into the Seattle Seahawks offensive line versus the 49ers rush. The biggest thing for me primarily is getting to, let's just cut the chase. Can we stop the run this year? That's going to be the start and finish of the defense this year. is can we stop the run? If we can't stop the run this year, all bets are off. That's just the facts. And we're going to be tested early with this offense because I believe that Sam Darnold is going to be protected by the run. Mike McDonald and these guys, led by I think Kubiak is their offensive coordinator now,
Mm-hmm.
led by Kubiak. These guys are going to run the ball. This is their mantra. They're basically they're going to pull a us on us. They're going to give us a taste of our own medicine. They're going to protect Sam Darnold. They're going to get the ball out quick. All right. And they're going to lean on this revamped offensive line. The biggest thing that I'll tell you right now is that their left tackle, Charles Cross, is a beast. I'm telling you, man, he is a problem. Right next to Gray Zabel. The left side of their offensive line is really going to be their money side. I think that the 49ers with D winners going with Fred Warner, I think that that's going to be something where we'll see who's going to be the hammer and who's going to be the nail, especially with that tandem. One thing that we saw with Fred early on is that the trajectory that Fred Warner was going in the season last year, bro, he was moving at a defensive player of the year tick for the first like 3 games of the season. Then reality set in with him playing by himself, having to play multiple snaps, and also accruing that ankle injury. But I believe that a fresh Fred Warner with D Winners playing up, I also believe that we're going to see a little bit of Nick Martin this game as well. I think that he's going to be our third linebacker coming in. I believe that they're going to struggle. I can't say it. I can't say they're gonna stop their run. I think we're gonna struggle against this run game. It's the first game of the season. A lot of the guys haven't played a lot. I don't know what we're gonna do with Alfred Collins. That's why I believe that we got the Jefferson trade and brought him in right now to help us out with actually getting some veteran leadership to be able to just stop the run up front. CJ West is coming off of injury, but these are young pups, man. I'm not expecting that much from them week 1, and they may hit a little bit of a wall. What do you think about this, Jess?
I think this is the most interesting matchup for both sides, really. The Seattle Seahawks offensive line just has not been good in previous years, despite pouring assets into it. They have good individual players, but the whole unit's play it hasn't been good. However, when you look at it, left side, we're going to go left to right. First round pick, UDFA, 4th round pick, 3rd round pick. They've put assets into that offensive line. Does Gray Zabel, is he the one that brings it all together? It looks like based off the preseason, that answer seems to be yes, but we're not going to fully know. That has been a weakness for them. If he can bring it all together, to your point, then the run game is going to be something to deal with. And then on the flip side, you got the 49ers defensive line, which is extremely unproven in itself. There are proven players, but a unit as a whole, you've got 3 rookies who are supposed to play big time roles. All 3 rookies missed significant time this offseason. That's not ideal. And then you already know that a lot of times rookies start out very, very slow. So I'm curious to see what the rotation is for the 49ers. Do any of those rookies start? Are they all just playing sparingly? How do they mix those rotations in? And if for some reason nobody else can be effective, Nick Bosa is going to get double teamed until his pants fall off. So that is a worry for me. We know that Nick Bosa is Nick Bosa, but if nobody else can generate a pass rush, it's not really going to matter. And if they can run the ball and they've got their offensive line is built so different than the San Francisco 49ers. Yes,
it's a real offensive line.
They want to do some of the same things, but they've poured high-end assets into their offensive line, unlike the 49ers, and they've gotten big people moving type of players. That's what they've went out and done. So when you add that in with a power running game that you have with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, it's going to be a really, really tough task. I'm curious to see how this one goes for the 49ers for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mike McDonald, we know where he's coming from. He's basically trying to build Ravens West. Let's just call it what it is.
Well, real quick, I just want to bring this up real quick because we were when I got booted, we were on the topic of the 49ers versus their secondary. Nick Eamon-Worry, it was brought in to play a very specific
Kyle
Kyle
Hamilton.
Hamilton role.
Yeah.
However, he's a rookie and he has been flashing all over the preseason. Seahawks fans are extremely excited about him. He's probably, I would imagine they're going to do a lot of 3 safeties. He'll probably get around 20, 25 snaps in this game. As good as he has looked, he's still playing in his first real game. I think if the 49ers are smart, and I believe that Kyle Shanahan will do this, I'm looking to exploit his aggressiveness and use it against him. I want to show him things that he thinks he sees that are not really there, and then take the top off because of him biting on something underneath, getting aggressive, show him things that he wants to see and use his speed and aggression against him. I think the 49ers can do that. So, but you're right. The reason I bring that up now is because you're talking about Ravens West. That's exactly what they're trying to do. 100%. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, they're Ravens West, bro. Like
Mhm.
they understand that they're going to lead with their defense. They're going to be dynamic on offense, and the reason why they're going to be dynamic on offense is they're going to lead with their offensive line. It's just
Yep.
that's what they're doing, and they're going to get the bodies that are going to be able to slow the game down, right? And beat us up. They're playing a physical brand of football that is tried and true. And the reason why the Ravens are always going to be relevant is because they're doing what the Eagles are doing. This is an arms race for physicality. If you're realizing what teams are doing now to win Super Bowls now, hey, Ferraris ain't winning the race no more. It's tanks. People are loading up. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger. Running back, if you've noticed, the position of running back is creeping back up to being as serious as it used to be 10 to 15 years ago. All right. They're taking the ball out of these quarterbacks' hands. They are. Okay. And they're also realizing, like, one of the biggest reasons why we can't get the athletes that we want is because we are always getting guys that are predicated on pass game, right? All of this stuff that we're trying to protect is pass rushers going in the pass game, corners being able to hit certain guys a certain way, being able to always placate to the game being more of a 4-lane highway. But one thing that I love about the league is that it is a meritocracy. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, that, for lack of a better term, is the style of football that runs the land. And the Eagles won the Super Bowl this past year. So you already know what you got to do to be relevant in today's NFL. And it ain't no goddamn outside zone with 285-pound guards. That ain't cutting it no more. You got to go out and go get some dogs.
Even the Rams have transitioned.
They're bigger. Pause.
I hate to say this,
but it's the truth.
You know what this 49ers, the way that they're building their offensive line reminds me of a lot. And it's frustrating to say this because, man, this team, the way that they were built was great as far as winning games until it got to be against the big SEC teams. This reminds me of Chip Kelly, Oregon Ducks.
Talk about
exactly what it reminds me of. You got a bunch of speed scat backs followed by a small offensive line. And ultimately, you can win with speed. Yes, speed does kill, but at some point, there's going to be a fist fight and you're going to have to get into a brawl. And if you do that, you're going to lose those games. And it's interesting because I feel like somehow the 49ers have lost the plot. Kyle Shanahan has lost the plot. But you won by running your way to a Super Bowl. You ran the ball 1,000,000 times against the Green Bay Packers. They could not stop what you were doing. Game. Exactly. And that was probably more than they needed. They could have thrown the ball 0 times and still would have won that game going away. I truly believe that. So with that being said, it's hard to run the ball when you don't have those power guys. I mean, you have to wear teams down, body blow, body blow, body blow. And it's hard to do that when you don't have the people movers up front. And defensive lines, especially in the NFC West, are getting deeper and deeper. They've got a lot of rotational guys that they can throw at you to stay fresh themselves. So it's going to be tough to do that. I'm not saying they can't. You're going to have to scheme around it, but it is very interesting that, in my opinion, the best teams in the league have power offensive lines, and the 49ers are the exact opposite right now. And I don't know that that's the strategy to win, but we'll find out.
Well, one thing that I'll tell you right now is that it's this is kind of like I hate to put it this way, but this is just the truth. We got to look at like this from a 10,000-foot view, Jess.
Mm.
Why is an offense liked, or why is an offense liked by different teams, right? By coaches. Why do coaches pick up offenses? They pick up offenses ultimately to keep them hired, right? They pick up offenses to win, right? So they can keep making money, right? Let's just talk about what it is. The intellectual property of an offense is not for the love of the game. It's a blueprint on how to win. It's money, it's currency. And one of the reasons why this offense did so well in the marketplace, if you will, that's why I'm building this a certain way, is of the because of the things that the facets that were attached to this offense. What does this offense do? This offense takes away some of the hardest things that you have to do as a coach, which is what? Build an offensive line. Okay. What else does this offense do? This offense takes the quarterback and the importance of the quarterback, and it straps him to the play caller based off of where the ball is supposed to be, timing, and how it's always supposed to be there. What else does this offense do? This offense also kind of takes out it's supposed to be able to take out the big workhorse back that you got to pick up in the first round. This offense is supposed to be able to remember, the mantra of this offense early on in the game of football was what? Any running back could get into this offensive run, right? We had guys like Orlando Scary, Clinton Portis, Mike Williams, right? Roy Halou, Alfred Morris. The list goes on and on about guys that have succeeded in this offense. Another thing that this offense does is that it's really good on being able to pay the guys that you need to pay outside of the guys that you have to stick with, which is skill guys. Who's quicker to turn in a contract, Jesse? A receiver or a guard? A receiver. All right.
Every time.
What's quicker to turn? A running back or a tackle? A running back. Those positions are dime a dozen, and the money is fugazi. They can bloviate all of the contracts, but the truth of the matter is that the reason why this offense is built is so it could be a catch-all to be able to it's the cheap man's way of trying to win. Also, it gives you plausible deniability if you're the play caller. All right. On top of the fact that you don't have to go out and get the best of the best in order for the offense to work. If it was the equivalent of a car, it'd be a Honda. Great on gas, reliable. All right. You can take a licking and keep on ticking. All right. You ain't gonna get nothing great out of it. All right. But it'll get you from A to B, and it can also take on over 250,000 miles. All right. That's what this offense is. So when we start asking why our Honda doesn't have Forgiatos, or why don't they have all-weather tires, it ain't built for that. All right. When we're looking for a V8 engine, it's like, nah, man, this is a VTEC 6. It's just, that's what this offense is built for. And because of that, that's the reason why they're not going to pay guys, is because of what you're dealing with Trent Williams. All right. Is because if you get a guy that's worth his salt and weight, okay, you're going to have to pay him multiple years. It's going to have to be big years. Those guards, those centers, those tackles that are getting paid in Philadelphia, that are getting paid in other areas with great offensive lines, those guys are not going anywhere. Offensive linemen stay. They're an investment, right? You have to build around them. And Kyle doesn't want to be tied down to players like that in his offense, where it's like, yo, I'm here for 5-10 years. You have to play me, right? This is what we're doing. And that's why they don't like doing it. I'm just being honest. That's how I feel about the offense.
I don't like the disrespect for VTEC engines. B18C. Anybody who knows B18C. Anybody in the chat, throw that out there. What car did that come out of? Anyways, go ahead. Sorry, I got distracted
man.
with VTECs.
Look, I got my issue with VTECs, man. Look, I'm a Hemi guy. You know what I'm saying? So, you got a V8, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So look,
but don't think I didn't grow up on VTEC engines, all right?
Oh, everybody knows about the VVT. The VVT 6 VTEC engine, dog. Come on. So look, let me tell you, how do you feel about let's get some more super chats out the way, and then we'll get out of here. Hold on, let me see. this brother Bob because I got number 1 and 4 in my fantasy football league starting in 15 minutes. What? Oh, okay.
Okay, but you know what, Brother Bob? You said we were in the middle of your thing, and you haven't even started, so you're a liar.
You are a liar.
Hey, you got spam in your chat. You might want to delete that.
I have spam in my chat.
Yeah, the college
Uh,
football game
I'm
streaming.
honored. Thanks, guys.
Hey,
All right.
Joseph Ehrenberg knows you're a real one, just so you know.
What did Joseph say?
He knows what engine I was talking about when I said B18C. He said it came from an Integra. You're right.
That's really nice. So let's move into our last topic of the show. I'm really gonna let you have this one. I kind of filibustered with the last rant, but let's get straight into it. Shanahan versus McDonald. Creative play design versus defensive discipline. Coaching chess matches decide tempo. How do you feel about the matchup with the coaches coming in?
This one's going to be really, really interesting for me because McDonald, to me, he is the defensive version of what Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are. They were the young wizard offensive guys that took over the teams. He's the defensive version of that. And they've had 3 matchups since he's been a defensive coach. One was against the Ravens, and we saw how that turned out. That was the worst game in Brock Purdy's career, bar none. So we know that game.
One would say that's what started it all.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the worst game for the 49ers that year, for Brock Purdy, what have you. Then they had the 2 games last year. Now, mind you, McDonald was a first-year head coach last year. The first matchup, Kyle Shanahan definitely exploited a lot of things. They went crazy in that game. They put up like 34, 36 points, something like that.
36.
But the second game around, they only put up 17. So they've had 3 matchups. McDonald has won 2 of them. We talked about how defenses start faster than offenses. We talked about their defensive front is a strength for them, at least that, their defensive linemen or their pass rushers, what have you, obviously that, a little bit of a 3-4, sometimes 5 down linemen versus the 49ers offensive line. That could be a matchup that they exploit. I really expect this to be a super fun matchups. They're definitely going to win some battles throughout the course of this game, but McDonald, as of now, does have the upper hand. So until Kyle proves otherwise, McDonald knows exactly what he's looking for. He certainly has a game plan. Now, whether that's going to work or not, but he knows Shanahan very well. He knows exactly what he wants to do. Shanahan probably knows exactly what he wants to do. This one is going to be a lot of fun. This is the matchup right here. Like the end of it all, this is the matchup of matchups. Whoever can get their team in position to win, offense versus the defense, this is going to be the key right here. I'm so excited for this one.
I'll tell you this. One of the things that I love about this matchup is that Mike McDonald goes literally after Kyle's biggest flaw. He attacks the offensive line.
Yep.
It's the first thing he does. He attacks the offensive line. He's like, you know what? Fuck your shifts. You know what I mean? It's like, do what you want to do. Shift all over the place. Do whatever you want. We're sending dudes through the A gap. We're testing you guys. Like, we're coming after you guys. Do whatever you want. All right. It's up to you to have the timing together. It's up to us to stop it and just make a mess of things. I really believe that our offensive line, I think this is is this not a great litmus test game? Like just week 1. I know that first games of the season are kind of like, oh, well, it's the first game. You don't know what the team is going to be. But if there was ever a game where you want to see exactly what the metal of the team is fresh out, I think that this one will be it. I think this is perfect. It's in the division, friendly foe. We already know we know each other. This is a young team that's looking to push past us, and we're trying to keep a position inside the division. I'm excited about this one, Jess.
Well, and I think one thing that's very important to know, and I'm glad that you brought up shifts and motions and all of that, McDonald's defense is so unique, and it takes a while to learn. The Seahawks team talked about it all last year. Like, just there's a lot going on. There's a lot of calling out that has to happen. That's why I think that Ernest Jones is very important to this defense. It's why they signed him. He was the first guy to come in last year that could actually do what McDonald is looking for and get people in the position they need to be in. Because one thing that Kyle Shanahan loves to do is the reason he does shifts and motions, we know, is so that his quarterback and his offense can get a
They
clean
can
look at the
get the
defense.
answers before the test.
You're not going to get that with the McDonald defense.
Nope.
Because what he's going to do is he's countering everything that you're doing. He's going to stay in man, but he's going to make it look like zone. He's going to show blitz, and then he's going to back out of that blitz. And it's all predicated off of what you do. If Ricky Pearsall doesn't go in motion or George Kittle doesn't go in motion, they're running one thing. The moment that those guys shift or go in motion, they've completely switched what they're doing. This guy's on this guy's, all of a sudden he's up and now he's going back. The picture is going to change. And what I find interesting is if those linebackers can stay disciplined in play action, that's going to be the key. If the 49ers cannot run the ball and they cannot threat with running the ball, it's going to be a disaster, because then those linebackers are going to sit. Those safeties are going to be able to come up and play some robber roles. They are going to have a game plan fully ready for what the 49ers want to do. Now, again, who can execute? That's one thing, but nobody game plans for shifts and motions the way that McDonald does. He is the best at it. Seahawks players talked about it. The Ravens players, because remember, their defense struggled out the gates last year too. They talked about how they missed that. He has an answer for literally every single little movement that you are doing. He's got a counter for it every single time. I'm curious to see how this plays out.
This is going to be a cold one, man. We'll definitely have the rest of the week to talk about it, man. This is one of those times where I wish the 4-man front was going on right now. Could you believe the conversations with all four of us right now, man? It'd be a great one, bro. But we'll get to it later on. Hey, let's get a couple of more sleeper chats out the way, then we'll get out of here. Right now we got This Is Brother Bob. And I'm smoking ribs. I'm taking Barkley number 1. Kyle Levy. I understand this. Moving on. Level 7 zone. Can't wait for the fraud Niners to stink it up this year. Remember, I told you rebuild soon. I hear you, bro.
He's a Cardinals fan, so
okay, for sure. Mark Soto 4997. Off topic, but Jesse, who you got versus Canelo versus Crawford? This is a great one. Who you got?
This is a great one. Crawford.
You got Crawford? I got
Crawford's my guy. Crawford's my guy. I'm rolling with Crawford. And the whole thing about the size difference, Crawford is plenty big. There is not a big size difference here. He's going to be able to take the power. I just think he's too slick of a boxer, and he's going to box the socks off of Canelo, but we'll see.
I think that's Canelo's biggest issue, is that he hasn't fought anybody that truly tests his intellect. I think that Bud is a true boxer. I want to see what Canelo's gonna do when Bud starts switching from southpaw to orthodox. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good one. That one comes on the 13th, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, this one's coming up, bro. So I'm excited. But that's a great question by Mark Soto. Thank you, man. Hey, Jess, another one in the books. We got the Niners facing the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, I can't believe how close it is. You remember last week when I was talking, I kept saying like 3 weeks away. Bro, I was tripping. I feel like the season is starting a week earlier than it normally does. I was so far off. I cannot believe that we are 3 days away from NFL football actually starting. Well, kind of. The Dallas Cowboys aren't a real NFL team, but
they're not a real team. Yeah. I was about to say, yeah, I got you. Yeah. Hey, look, Jess, it's been real. Love you, man. Hey, this is going to be the first of many, man. I'll talk to you. Hey, this is the coach signing off. Stay low and keep your feet moving. Peace, guys.